you ready? You ready? Come on. You ready? Oh shit. Here. Come here. It's yours. Get it. It's clean. Right here. Come on. It's yours. It's clean. Clean it up. I'll steam it again. Here. When you get done with that, finish that right there. Wash your hands off. Good boy. Finish it. I gotta play. I gotta steam it. After it's done, I gotta steam it. Finish it. Yeah. On that damn sun. It ain't that hot, but god damn, man. Well, actually it is. It's like 90 something. Yeah, finish it up. Finish it up, my boy. I'm not going back out. I'm not going back out. Finish. Something like that. Did you get it all? Alright, you still got, you got plenty on the thing right there. Look, right there, Papa. Right there. Right there. Look here. Good boy. There you go. Good boy. Put your ass in the sink, buddy. Put you in the sink, Papa. I'm thoroughly beat. Well, not thoroughly beat, but weather's definitely changing. Weird. No, you got water. I'm not going right there. Here. Nope, you can't drink from the lip. And stop knocking the water over too. There you go. All right. Okay. Whew. I should have stayed out in the sun though, actually. Oh man. No. Archivate us, right? Play a game here in a little bit. Fucking kick off my shit, put my pajamas on, man. Running around like Obi-Wan Kenobi and shit. That's running around here like Obi-Wan fucking Kenobi. Master Window, he's gay. I don't know what made a nigga. They used to, oh man. Cold 45. Woman going crazy for that Jerry curl nigga. What? Oh, that's retarded. Nah, it's nothing to play with, Papa. Fermented vitamin. Oh man, I'm tired. Holy shit. Jumping jack, push-ups, chin-ups. I ripped out of my chin-ups this morning. I hit a 5 for a warm-up. And then I exceeded that a couple times. It felt good. I don't do a lot of chin-ups like I used to, but I was surprised. Whew, it's warm out there, but it's a weird warm. It's a weird warm. Got a package. I'm not opening it. I'll open it tomorrow. Could be a book, and then it could be Social Security shit. No, they don't send in a package. I don't think. Not here. It's a regular book ticket. But it might be. I think it could be a book. I feel like opening it. Supposed to be getting the book tomorrow. Might be it. I'm like exhausted, like just running and shooting. Not serious running, but like movement, like walking, tapping on the shoulder, shooting targets. I think what's hurting my feet is for a few days I've been going out and pushing the back of my truck, and I'm up on my toes like this, pushing, and I can feel it in my feet. It's nothing but strength. As long as I'm putting the right minerals in, I'm fine. Oh man. And I ate a veggie patty, some refried beans, organic, easy to make with pintos, some home fries, potassium, magnesium, and some spinach. We shouldn't really be eating a lot of spinach, but I had the taste for spinach, and that was my meal. It was a little bigger than what I'm used to, because my plates, I like to eat on a small plate. I don't like it all stacked up. Just a handful, a few tablespoons, and stuffed. And that's playing a part in it too. you know, with all the information they're putting out there, be careful. I said this before. Do not give it a whole lot of strength or energy because it can be very depressing. It can raise your cortisol levels based upon stress. Do not. We're going to get it started because I'm tired. I want to kick all this stuff off. Got to fold clothes from the dryer. And tomorrow we're going to do the tissue paper, blah, blah, blah. Show you how to make fire starters. And the thing is, you got to put them, not in the fridge, but you got to put them in an ice tray and let them, and put pressure on them and let them dry. And it'll take a few days to dry out real good, about 5 or 6 days. But you need to be making them. And then you take it from there. You can put a piece of stick, or you can even use wax stems if you want to. But once it catches on fire, it's going to go up. But you can light it from the corner, then hold it, and then put it where you can put your candle and your feathering, however it is you want to get the fire going, and then your sticks and logs. So best not to burn pine, because pine burns a white smoke because of the sap and everything. So if you can, find cedar, birch, dead preferably. What we've consummated as far as what death is, meaning that there's no longer flower and water doesn't go all the way up through it. So, but pine, you're going to have an issue, especially if you're out there and you want to cook and you're not too worried about the light, but the smoke can give you away, when you use pine. Now, you can use the pine needles for bedding, but you don't want to use it to burn. Besides snapping and crackling and popping and stuff. I am exhausted. I put it in when I go out there, guys. When I'm around people that know how I really move, because I know they're going to move, so, I got to put the old knee brace on and neoprene back support and just go at it. That's just protection. His bodies break down. Well, they should. And they should recover quickly. But, ergo, what's been said and what you know makes it a little harder. So you got to go deep. We're going to read a little bit of Alien World Order, the reptilian plan to divide and conquer the human race. So I'm going to get into the introduction so that way you have a little clarity. And this is by Len Castor. Now, in the beginning of the book, as far as the Alien World Order, he'll give you sources and stuff for those who really want to get into that. We may read a few of those, but well, I'll read those to you right now. Let me see. Hold on. Do I need to? Yeah, I'll read some of the works that this individual utilized. Len Caston. The name sounds kind of weird, right? So anyway, Alien World Order. In Alien World Order, Len Caston provides a coherent account of the history and imperialistic activities of reptilian extraterrestrials on Earth and the Milky Way galaxy, to which we know as the common long tail is not a Milky Way, but it is something else, a star. Anyway, over thousands of years. Anyway, using the work of Robert Morning Sky, Stuart Swerdlow, Alex Collier, okay, and other primary sources which are in the back of the book. Man, we'll look at the Reptilian Draco Empire and all that stuff. The Galactic Federation, to which I've read, and a couple of other books. Preferably one I know we're reading in DNA of the Gods, but that's not one of his sources of reference, unless it stays so in the back, to which I didn't go over. But we're going to go ahead and hit this, excuse me, the introduction. I always believe it's good to read the introduction to certain books that hypothetically goes along with other books. Phew, child. It's beautiful out there. Okay, let's go ahead and get into it. No, this is the book right here. Let me show you. Does that mean that they're always watching us even after the war because they're playing?
What do you think? Now, the science fiction classic The Time Machine by H.G. Wells was first published as a novel in 1895. Now, those of you who have watched both of the movies, the 1950s or 60s rendition, and then I believe, the 2000 whatever rendition. It was based on his short story, The Chronic Argonauts. Now, some of you all watch Meal. Some of you have heard what I've read. Argonauts. Are you paying attention? Nothing new under the sun. Okay? Written in 1888, while Wells was a student and published in his college newspaper. Now, written as it was prior to the scientific and technological breakthroughs of the early 20th century, it would be expected to be weak in terms of scientific speculation. But remarkably, the story contained a complete description of the concept of space-time, designating time as the fourth dimension of space, where we believe space is. And 20 years before Einstein unveiled his theory of special relativity, it also offered some interesting social insights. And in his visit to the distant future in the time machine, the inventor time traveler encounters a civilization of simple-minded, pleasure-seeking young people, the Elohi, or Elohai, who live in an earthly paradise of beauty and leisure. But underground, there is a different society. There lives a race of ape-like creatures, the Morlocks. Who remembers them from Planet of the Apes? Remember when they killed his buddy and then they tilt over the nuclear weapon? Those underground, wearing face masks of who they once wore, are to look like us. Excuse me, who run the machinery that permits the pleasures of the surface world to exist. The time traveler at first assumes that this subsurface worker race has been enslaved by the Eloi to do all the hard labor necessary to keep their paradise functioning. However, the time traveler discovers that periodically the Morlocks put the Eloi into a trance, and then batch consignments of the young people are brought underground to become food for the cannibalistic Morlocks. The Morlocks allow the Eloi to enjoy their surface playground, but they are being kept like cattle in a pasture for food. Although it appeared to be pure science fiction, the novel seemed to have its origins in Welsh's pessimistic views about the future of humanity. Some critics claim it reflected a socialist orientation since its bleak view of the future appeared to be an indictment of industrialization and capitalism. Are we not there? It is true that Wells was a socialist, later joining the Fabian Society. Look that up. A British organization that endorsed socialism as the answer to the economic ills of the time. He even sought to become the president of the society. And in a visit to Russia in 1920, he met with Vladimir Lenin and Leon Trotsky, the progenitors of the Russian Revolution, the Bolshevik Wars, and all that. And a decade later, he met with Joseph Stalin. Given his communist leanings, it would be logical to conclude superficially that the time machine is a vision of the likely final days of capitalism. And Wells appears to admit as much when he says on the last page, I know, for the question had been discussed among us long before the time machine was made. Thought but cheerlessly of the advancement of mankind, and saw in the growing pile of civilization only a foolish heaping that must inevitably fall back upon and destroy its makers in the end. Yet, this sordid ultimate chapter in the history of mankind on this planet, its makers, anyway, mankind on this planet, doesn't really make sense as any sort of acceptable prognostication of the far future. How anyone of Wells' intellect could believe that we would come to such an end is inconceivable. Now, if Wells had lived after the advent of the atomic bomb, it might be believable that he thought that we would destroy civilization in a final catastrophic war. but the idea of the human race reverting back to troglodytes and simple, senseless, inarticulate little people is absurd. As a race in general, we are already approaching a state of advanced spirituality and scientific sophistication. Whose spirituality, who controlled it, and what scientific sophistication? For whom? Certainly, we would not revert, that was me, revert back to apes and idiots in 800,000 years. More likely, we will be godlike beings colonizing other planets or distant stars. So, since it really makes no sense from a prophetic viewpoint, how could this novel have remained a classic for more than a century, spawned 2 Hollywood films, and inspired countless sequels and spin-offs? As we will see, we may have underestimated Wells' prophetic powers, and there may be much more to this story than is immediately apparent. And y'all know what H.G. Wells looked like. You can Google him and pull it all up. It's not finished. That was just me cutting off to another part. Excuse me. As a prophet, Wells was really unrivaled in his time. Many of the descriptions in his writings were remarkably accurate glimpses of events and situations many years in the future. Perhaps most astounding was his novel, The War in the Air, written in 1907 and serialized and published in a British magazine in 1908. Now, by 1907, the Wright brothers had just achieved noteworthy short flights under power. What do they call that, people? What is it when you find something and you must tear it apart and rebuild it in your fashion, or what you're capable of, in order to make it work? You hear that about UFOs and all that other stuff. I'll let you use your brains for a minute. Excuse me. The Wright brothers had just achieved noteworthy short flights under power. They had taken 6 flights in the Flyer 3, from 17 to 38 minutes long, the farthest flight distance reaching 24 miles, outside of the brothers' home base of Ohio. Now, this news was widely greeted with disbelief and skepticism. A major Paris English language newspaper said in 1906, headline about the flights, "Flyers are liars." Yet in the Wells novel, in a scenario highly suggestive of the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor, a mighty armada of huge German flying machines launches a surprise attack on New York City, Wells says. At that time, Germany was by far the most efficient power in the world and better organized for swift and secret action, better equipped with the resources of modern science, and with her official and administrative classes at a higher level of education and training. Once again, in the history of progress, it seemed she held the decisive weapon, a strange reference before World War I. Now, she might strike in the air. Particularly, she must strike America swiftly, because there, if anywhere, lay the chance of an aerial rival. It was known that America possessed a flying machine of considerable practical value, developed out of the Wright model, but it was not supposed that the Washington War Office had made any wholesale attempts to create an aerial navy. But the American attack was only the beginning. He says further, the attack upon America was to be the first move in this tremendous game. But no sooner had it started than instantly the aeronautic parks were to proceed to put together and inflate the Second Fleet, which was to dominate Europe and maneuver significantly over London, Paris, Rome, St. Petersburg, or wherever else its moral effect was required. Moral effect. A world surprise it was to be, no less a world conquest. Now, incredibly, this was precisely the German state of mind 32 years in the future in 1939, when also the German Air Force was to be the key blitzkrieg and victory in Europe. And in Wells' story, while the German military knew that America was a sleeping giant, they knew it was totally unprepared for an attack from the air. In actuality, when Germany declared war on the United States in December of 1941, the American bomber had been on Excuse me. Holy smack. Anyway. Hold on, excuse me. I lost my place. Okay. America was a sleeping giant. They knew it was totally unprepared for an attack in the air. Okay. So had been on the Nazi drawing boards for 3 years. And in a speech on July 8th, 1938, to German aircraft manufacturer, German Air Marshal Hermann Göring said, "I completely lack the bombers capable of round-trip flights to New York with a 4.5-ton bomb load. I would be extremely happy to possess such a bomber, which would at least stuff the mouth of arrogance across the sea." This plan to bomb New York more than 3 years before Pearl Harbor leaves no doubt whatever about the early German war designs. But most prophetic of all of Wells' World War II scenarios was his description of the new German leader, a perfect portrait of Adolf Hitler. Wells says, and listen, Prince Karl Albert was indeed the central figure of the world drama. He was the darling of the imperialist spirit in Germany, and the ideal of the new aristocratic feeling. Now the new chivalry, as it was called, that followed the overthrow of socialism through its internal divisions and lack of discipline, and the concentration of wealth in the hands of a few great families, Krupp, I.G. Farben, Tyson. He was compared by obsequious flatterers to the Black Prince, to Alcibiades, and to the young Caesar. Too many he seemed Nietzsche's overman, a common comparison to Hitler, revealed he was splendidly non-normal. But there was something of Göring also in Prince Karl. The emperor placed him in control of the new aeronautic arm of the German forces. This he developed with marvelous energy and ability, being resolved, as he said, to give to Germany land and sea and sky, Lebensraum. The national passion for aggregation found in him its supreme exponent, and achieved through him its realization in this astounding war. But his fascination was more than national. All over the world, his ruthless strength dominated minds as the Napoleonic legend. And in brackets, Hitler was frequently compared to Napoleon and had dominated minds. He made the war. We all know who made the war, but to its need. And then we'll read this last part, and then we'll get into the Star Wars. What is perhaps most amazing about this novel is the fact that while Wells may have gotten some of the details wrong, he did identify the participants and did capture the entire panorama of World War II. It was indeed a war in the air, in which the Germans almost decimated London with bombs and rockets, and in which the Allies achieved victory by the total destruction of the major German cities by round-the-clock B-17 raids. Isn't it funny how these motherfuckers want to go to war, but they're not telling you the date to go down? You ever notice that? See, in England and Germany and all them places, France, they were described all the communities to get together and dig with certain core engineers. And they did. They dug Japan, China, Vietnam, North Korea, South. They dug. We have plenty of places underground from the last war, the real war. And the enemy has you hoodwinked. Anyway, he wrote this at a time when the Wright brothers were in the very earliest stage of development of the airplane. This level of accurate prognostication, I can't stand that word, prognostication, good gracious, 30 years before the fact, implies that Wells has some sort of crystal ball. To simply say that he was psychic is not enough, because psychics are rarely so accurate. It really makes him something of a modern-day Nostradamus. He was a goddamn Ashkenazi. He knew exactly what was going to happen. H.G. Wells was an Ashkenaz. Don't worry about all that English shit. Okay? The lands of Mars, 178 worlds under the Great Dome. Most confound them by Claudio Nocelli. Chapter 4, The Ancestral Expedition, The Writings of Captain Raoult. Hey, Alicia and Cooper, what's up, beloved? Herbo, Lloyd, what's going on, beloved? Porter's Allegory, what's going on, beloved? What's happening? I got you, Herb. You already know, brother. Mr. C, what's going on, beloved? James B, what's going on, beloved? Appreciate you guys stepping in. Tribe all day. And I think I said to a sister who donated the 10, thank you. It's there. We'll get some more books. The last one. This is the last one, the third, and then there's one more book. I'm so happy. I would have just jumped on and ordered it, but I wanted some other things, so. And I'm about to start building a cab on the back of my truck, so, you know. In addition to the data collected by the custodians in times of the Great War, there are also stories of ancestral Republic navigators who ventured into exploration in conjunction with giant technology on a risky passage to the cursed waters of Mars. Long ago, a surviving navigator from the ancient lands known before the last reset had the idea of visiting lands across the second dome or membrane and set out with 3 other companions on their adventure to those lands. Listen, although it was well enough known that these were dangerous lands and that there were possibly humans who had even betrayed their own brothers to inhabit them, Captain Raoult's team was not deterred at all. And using the help of ancient technology from the ancient giant humans, they were able to reach the gate of the great icebergs near the Bird Strait Channel. Oh, that's it right there. Oh, okay. I guess that's the picture of it. As far as the drawing goes. Pretty decent artistic conceptualism. These were not times for visits, although perhaps it is never a good time to enter lands controlled by the enemy. Overcoming the passage was the most complicated to avoid the raiders that tidal waves or earthquakes are generated in the frozen area of the ice walls. And then when crossing them, they could also receive them with any type of automatic weaponry of attack by intrusion. You dig? They managed to break through the 2 most complex points in their dome membrane. This is a record still kept in the archives of the giant humans of the Isle of Thoth in the Republic History Centers. Now, Captain Raoult was sighted. This is Captain Roll, excuse me, like the screenwrite that I'm doing. Captain Roll. We sighted the land of Aria and are nearing descent. We have apparently not been detected as marked by the Cry 58 anti-radar to base. To Captain Roll. Understood. Gather the necessary information and please approach the ring rendezvous point B. And Captain Roll replies, copy that. We will start our return at the stipulated time. Now, but the previously stipulated time passed very quickly, and from the base they received no more news. A climate of great concern was generated. Although there were several escape plans, the reality is that the mission carried an extremely high risk because they could not rescue them. There was no possibility of visualizing their real position. Besides, if they were kidnapped, they would also know sooner or later the lands that their ancestors occupied after escape from the known lands. Excuse me. One of the 4 members of the team communicated to the base in code, reporting that they were on their way back but had been attacked and the body of the captain was lying dead in the ship. Once again, they were attacked on the way back, but they were able to get through each and every one of them. They were able to return in one piece to the base in the ancient lands of Anak. I want to show you ancient lands of Anak. And you can see that's right outside of us by the Arctic Ring. Okay? Just take your time and look. Here we are, South America, the Arctic Ring, ancient lands of Anak. Upon returning, they were able to give details of what happened. Now, with the death of the captain, all were very saddened. The risk was high, but valuable information was obtained from strategic points used by the parasitic race to move within the Great Zoo, as they are also colloquially called the lands of Mars. It was also possible to measure in depth the technology used in a scan with Anakim technology of the entire Martian territory. Now, Captain Raoult went into a base of the human colony. They were able to talk to one of the members, for security reasons we cannot detail with whom. But it was a famous politician who was surprised by the captain, and in an unfriendly conversation confessed to have made and orchestrated several false flag attacks against the same citizens of a country. He even had counted the number of innocent victims who had been killed and was proud of it. Other notes were kept in the archives of the Republic, such as the structure of its buildings, the technology that was developed there, and some experiments such as the continuation of the Philadelphia experiment. A writing was found on the ship among his notes about the majestic paradisial view of Aria. The sky here glimpsed, this is the writing, the sky here glimpsed the sight of visitors. All this shared serenity, time, seems to be a faithful reflection of the ancients who once reigned their fields of the brightest green and full of light. Who could inhabit these lands in the most peaceful way and populate with their eternal love, watching their children grow? The Lands of Mars map. From book Lands of Mars, 178 worlds under the Great Dome. And you can Google it. It is a reconstruct. And next we'll get into chapter 5, which is the Ship of Repentance ones. It's pretty decent, right? Pretty decent when you really get thinking about it. It's like, is there a possibility? Like I said, puzzle pieces, look around you. What do you see? Don't be afraid. Speak your mind. Be as eloquent as possible. And don't make threats. You know, we had an idiot come on here, wanted to push the waters, and nobody would do that in their sound mind. And it seems to be these individuals who play a lot of games. And it's funny because when you look at Black Alien, if you go to Black Alien Project 2, you'll see this Spanish cat that started modifying his body, cutting his tongue, putting things in his jaw, his head, to look like an alien. These are mindless individuals, okay? Mindless. Easy to find, but we don't do that. Especially not, I don't. Or you're very easy to find. But that's a whole nother dynamic because y'all might not be doing, well, you are, but you don't know it. You know, when the bellowing hollers of the last roll, the death roll, that's what I hear in America. I don't hear nothing based upon good morale. I hear all the drama and the chaotic. I hear there's so much negative. I hear the voices when they whisper and talk, even in the laughter and the laughter and the chatters. Everybody's in some kind of last throw or roll, and it's real weird. Hope they come up out of it. Maybe y'all hear it as well. You take the blinders off, you remove the earmuffs as well. Equator 7. Hey, what's going on, beloved? Here we go. So here's The Gods of Eden by William Brantley. Okay? The pharaohs would be allowed to escape Earth only after they had died. Pharaohs were taught the silly idea that if they had their dead bodies carefully preserved, the bodies would be brought back to life and they could join the custodial gods in the heavens. Some pharaohs, like Cheops, also buried large wooden boats near their tombs, according to some scholars, just as did some of the people of She. The pharaohs believed that their entombed boats, solar barks, would be magically exhumed and endowed with the same power that caused, look up solar barks, the boats of the gods to fly. The pharaohs believed that they would be whisked away after death in their magically powered wooden boats to the home of the gods in the heavens. What's funny is you see some of the gods, like Thoth, Ptah, sitting on these what look like flying carpets, but there's under them is the megalithic beetle, the scarab. And then on some of them, you can actually see the wings of the scarab. Now, are you aware that the scarabs don't fly? It's actually a chemical that comes from under their wings that they flat out that allows them to levitate and move, very like the bee. Are y'all aware of that? The scarab beetle does not fly, people. It's a chemical, the ether, the rill, and it allows them to mitigate after hovering. Levitating is what it's called, and hovering like an opposite to the magnetic, like repulse. And then check out the pictures. I was surprised when I saw this shit in Egypt. I was like, get the fuck out. And the guy was telling, do you know what the scarab beetle is? He was all close to me. Very, very dark Egyptian brother, too. And he appreciated us who knew, like people I moved with, we all knew we were autochthonous. A word I've been, like I said, I've been using since the 80s. Actually, before that. Learned it in a book in 78. No, 79. The word autochthonous, I couldn't even pronounce it properly until like high school, like middle of high school. I was like autochthon, or I thought it was something, you know, autochthon. I forget how I used to say it. But then one day I sat down, and we didn't have where you can Google and listen to, you know, translator. You had to lean back on your English studies. And I had to realize when I'm sitting there with the AO as an auto, TH, tha, like thok, and then H, is it silent or is it C and H one, autochthonous? Because the T or UNS is there. NOUS, excuse me, I said it so fast. And I was like, that's autochthonous. And it took me a while, like I said, second or third year of high school. So yeah, look up what I was saying about the scarab beetle and see if there's some plausibility to it. I mean, maybe they have something, maybe they don't. I don't know. I learned it a long time ago and just wanted to point it out. And I learned it, surprisingly, in Egypt. And I didn't believe it. So I came back, the libraries, when I was in New York. I went to, like I said, I used to go to Barnes & Noble off of Avenue Americas. And then I used to go to the main one over there in Manhattan. You know, well, not the main one. I guess is it the main one for those who live in New York, down there by Union Square, you know, 14th Street. So I used to go to that one because I used to always hit the comic store. You know what I'm saying? But I used to go to that main bookstore over there. I mean, the main library, and phenomenal stuff. So it's all there. You know, I never looked at it on Google. Hey, Lloyd, what's up, a little bit? Yep. Anyway, although Egyptian preservation techniques were quite good, it is clear that the pharaohs' minds were being filled with nonsense. The wooden solar barks never flew, and few, if any, mummified bodies of the great god kings reached the heavens. Instead, many mummies have become macabre museum curiosities for the titillation of the human multitudes that the pharaohs so fervently hoped to escape. Other mummies suffered an even more humiliating fate. They used to grind the bones, Europeans and knucklehead rich people over here, that they would make, cook, and drinking potions. Anyway, humiliating fate, they were ground up and used as an ingredient in medicines. Pulverized mummies also became paint additives because of the preservatives used in the mummification process. And they don't care because they were niggas. The puzzle is why the pharaohs believed the cruel joke which had been perpetrated on them. Some historians suggest that mummification was an attempt to imitate the life cycle of the butterfly. Others believe that the pharaohs wanted to maintain their wealth and position in their next lifetime. I can tell you the mummies were a message, and therefore desired to be resurrected in the same bodies. That is not what they were attempting. One UFO writer has suggested that they were striving to duplicate body preservation techniques used by Egypt's technologically advanced gods. And ancient Egyptian records, however, reveal an even more compelling reason why the pharaohs mummified themselves. Spiritual knowledge had been twisted. Ancient Egyptians believed in a soul, or self, as an entity completely separate from the person, meaning body. Egyptians labeled one such spiritual entity the Ka. And we know that we utilize the Ki as well, or the Chi as well. The Egyptians believed that the Ka, not the body, was one of the spiritual entities that constituted the true person, and that the body itself had no personality or intelligence without a spiritual entity. And the Ka, what you can see, is Ki. You drive around in the Kia? Okay, we'll leave it at that. This generally enlightened view was given in a false twist. However, the enlightened view was given a false twist. However, the Egyptians were made to believe that the spiritual well of the Ka, or Ki, after death depended upon the Ka maintaining contact with a physical body. According to historian Fahakre, the Egyptian wanted his Ka to be able to recognize his body after death and to be united with it. For this reason, he felt that it was very important to have his body preserved. This is why the Egyptians mummified their bodies and excelled in embalming them. As they say, for the earth shall give up the dead, bones and ashes and all. So I guess you wonder where they got that. The pharaohs went even a step further, Mr. Fakrai explains, in this way. The Egyptians also made statues and placed them in tombs and temples to act as substitutes for the body if it should perish. And what you see in the Flash, the new ones, he's in the place with the black Flash, and you see those demons or whatever they are from other dimensions who are also like the Flash, but I guess those who went to conquer. And you remember when they came back to life, I guess. Now, these practices had a devastating impact on spiritual understanding. They caused people to wrongly equate spiritual wholeness with spiritual attachment to human bodies. Two are different things. And in parentheses, our two-body substitutes. And such teachings encourage humans to accept the custodial intention to permanently join spiritual beings to Homo sapien bodies. Now, the powerful human drives for spiritual integrity and immortality were twisted into an obsessive quest to preserve bodies. Philosophies of materialism were thereby hastened, and materialism, by one of its definitions, is the preoccupation with things at the material level and neglecting important aspects of ethical and spiritual existence. This often leads to the second definition of materialism, the belief that everything, including thought and emotion, can be explained entirely by movements and changes in physical matter. Although the Egyptians had not embraced the latter definition as a philosophy of life, they had helped move the world a step in that direction, though. Now, as far as up here, the powerful human drives for spiritual integrity and immortality were twisted into an obsession quest to preserve the bodies. And then we get into the negating of physical, what you call it. You remember who was the actual individual that came up with the saying, when I die, I can't take nothing with me but me. You want to talk about culture? Who was the individual that stated, why gain all the worth of this earth? And I'm not talking about biblical text because it has an origin before that. When I die, I can't take none of this. So he gave it all away and chose to live with the earth. The derailment of spiritual knowledge in Egypt was caused by the corruption of the Brotherhood of the Snake, to which the pharaohs and priests belonged. And you see the Catholic Church with their big auditorium with the serpent, a disrespect, a disarmament, a perversion to the cobra's head. As mentioned earlier, after its reported defeat thousands of years ago by its custodian enemies, the Brotherhood continued to remain dominant in human affairs, but at the cost of becoming a custodial tool. To understand how the corrupted Brotherhood began to distort spiritual truth and perpetuate theological irrationality, we must first look at the early inner workings of the Brotherhood and its method of teaching. We'll touch upon that tomorrow. I'm also exhausted because sometimes it takes energy to reach things. Yeah, anyway, shut up, Red. Too much. I gotta remind myself because I do like putting my hands on people. I mean, in the ring. So, it's not the old ways. Most of these cats can't really fight. We're going to read Reptilians, The History of Humankind, and Anunnaki. The other two we'll read here in a little bit because I want to get right into ancient Britons and Jews and Muslims in Europe. So, The Reptilians and the History of Humankind, Anunnaki, and by Henry Crane. Damn, kids are in school. Oh, that's right. They're out of school already today. And let's see, which one is this? I have stuff marked in this book, guys. Excuse me. Okay, here we go. Yeah. So we're still on that ideology about Jesus. Did any of y'all look into it? I know it's going to be hard to find any information. But Quasimodo, Nostradam, the bells, for the bell tolls. You know what I'm talking about? Did y'all look into that? Those are puzzle pieces. You know what I'm saying? I guess not. So anyway, after this, Jesus ascended to the fifth dimension, overcoming the draconians and reptilian Anunnaki. Being at the level of a Kadutsu, Enlil was terrified with the power of Jesus and the work he had done on Earth. He knew that it was a matter of time for humankind to wake up. He had no choice but to ask for help from Anu, and confessed to him that he and Enki, could communicate with humans through the phase, psionic. Anu, who had not been around Earth all this time and did not understand any of this, agreed to help Enki, not out of interest, but for fear of losing the human form and of the possibility of another Jesus that could deal with them. The truth was that Anu was no longer interested in the human Lulus, since he had realized that he and all the other Anunnaki had become parasites of all human. They had left their lives behind, becoming simple farmers controlled by the draconians. In addition, he did not feel very much at home in the fourth dimension. Sounds like, what were they called in Superman? Before Krypton was destroyed. Zog. Do you remember anything about Zog with the Ashkenazis? The war going on in Ukraine right now with Russia in them? Zog. We'll look into it. In addition, he did not feel very much at home in the fourth dimension, so he had been devising a plan to get rid of the draconians' control. He knew that they were imprisoned in a prison anyway. He knew that his only option was to ask for help from his race, Usumagal. Because if they joined the Kingu race, they could face the enormous power of the draconians. Meanwhile, the draconians were not aware of what was happening on Earth until they realized that a human had managed to overcome them. And he had installed in the fifth dimension. Now, they were bewildered and terrified by this event. So they decided to send a large caravan to the fourth dimension with the Anunnaki to see what was happening in Urus, Earth. The Carians were impressed and had never imagined that a human could have so much power. On the one hand, they were glad because humans were closer to their liberation. And on the other hand, they were aware that humans could represent a great danger if they increased their power and used it against them. So they began to doubt whether their plan was successful or not. Enki, impressed, never thought at which level could Jesus get, and did not know if to regret or rejoice about this plan, since a human had overtaken them by far. And the one thing I will say about this Jesus name, not the character that's been displayed in a lie. If you go around any of these Ashkenaz, only the Americanized ones will speak on it and include, but not the real Ashkenaz, the UN, certain police departments and all that kind of stuff, and government affiliation, they will tell you, don't say that name around me. Is that strike something in y'all? Hey, Miss Dr. Pose, hey, what's good? How you doing, beloved? Rondo, appreciate it. But does it strike something in you? Have any of y'all been around those people and said the word Jesus just to see? I say Joshua. Whenever I said Quasimodo, motherfuckers looked at me like this. There's another name, people. Y'all got to look it up. I shared it on Facebook, and I shared it very early on. I think it was on my other YouTube channel. Very early on, I shared the name. So do due diligence. We research, right? Anyway, Enki, impressed, never thought at which level could Jesus get, and did not know if to regret or rejoice about this plan, since a human had overtaken them by far. Now, why wouldn't he teach everybody else? Maybe he believed and knew everybody was capable. By showing them, they would acquiesce. Finally, he realized that Jesus' mission had been a success. He had gotten Christified. That's a new word for me, y'all. He taught us the way to our liberation, and he had demonstrated all the alien races that the humans were a race to take into account, and that they were worth their existence in the universe. But the most important thing is that Jesus had taught humankind was the most powerful force in the universe. Love. Anu and Enlil could not be idle, so they started to devise a plan to revert this situation. Next we get into the God Yahweh and his new identity. What God would change their identity. You'll see. That's why I keep telling y'all to seek your Yahweh, to look within yourselves. Your eternal light is eternal. The problem is we ignore it because of all the pollution and noise and all the grammatical foolishness and nonsense, the emotions, the brokenness, the crypto-destroyed ideologies. Bro, what happened with you? What do you mean what happened with me? What do you mean what happened? I mean, Mr. Chattahoochee, G. Maurice Bay, excuse me, brother. What is good, bro? How are you doing, by the way? My real name is a native Indian indigenous name given to me by my grandmother and my grandfather, mother that's from South Carolina. Okay, but what do you mean, bro? What happened with you? What are you talking about? Anyway, because you asked the question. Make sure I have an understanding of what you're expressing. Because I'm an exceptional, matter of fact. It's not bragging, but I think I'm in better health than all of you. I just pushed myself. Now I'm going to answer it because everybody can see the question. So please articulate that much better by the statement, bro, what happened with you? Because it's not to you or what's going on, or you said what happened with me. The other channels, no, it's still there. I'm actually, right now I'm recording. I have two little, what do you call those things? GoPros. I'm recording one right there and one over there to get two different angles. And I will upload them. I just got to take it to the computer, the card, edit, and all that stuff. I still have some gun shooting. Me shooting 50 cal, M240, and the saw. I'm shooting the saw, full auto, 250 round belt, walking, shooting it, and that's it. A friend of mine has a video who I served with in HS5 Night Dippers in Jacksonville, Florida. Me walking with a Gal 17 mini Gatling gun, because I was the primary person, supervisor, taught by civilian contractors to put it in the H3 before we went to H60s. And I'm walking with it on the Jacksonville, on the flight line. I think he says I'm walking with two of them, and they're very, very heavy. And then there is also the plate to which all the stand and mount goes in, that which I usually pick up instead of walking on the cart and walk out to the flight line. He says he has the video, so I'm waiting for him to pull them up and send them to me. Oh, well, we all have typos. That's why I was like, no, you're asking a good question. I was like, what do you mean? I was be specific, but I appreciate it. It was good with you, and thanks for all. Oh, no, man. It's, as long as you guys are all right, I'm good. I talk my spook. I twist the set because I'm old enough to be somebody's great-great-grandpa. Shit. I got food in my teeth. I should have brushed. But anyway, I should have went ahead and hell, I might be. Come to think about it. No. Well, I will have to write to Germany. Because kid over there has got a kid. So, who's not a kid, but come on, younger brothers and sisters, they're no longer our sons and daughters. It's supposed to be when they get to a certain age. I don't know if it's at 16 or if it's at in the 20s. They are no longer your sons and daughters. They are now the heirs, their brothers and daughters. But I know I got a grandbaby who was out of high school. And yeah, I was early. And she definitely was early. And my last communique was she may be pregnant. I didn't look back, and that was a couple of years ago. So we'll see. It might be a great, you know what I'm saying? Little brothers and sisters, yes, brother. That's who they are. We're all family. The problem is, it's like, I watch like Michelle Queen in England. Funny, you know, with their pops who's Nigerian. I watch Nate and Shia. I communicate with some. I love people all over Earth. I don't like the nasty and the ugly. I don't like the separatists. I don't like the gangbangers. I don't like the knuckleheads. 'Cause I know guys in gangs who are like the best. They don't really get down with some of the other gangs because they're not really about the proponent. They protect themselves and they're pretty violent. But they're about the betterment of their community. And some of you might live in those places where you see those so-called gangs who are really about the betterment of the community, protecting it. Advice, even in getting to the little squabbles, because there's some of them about making in ways that are lucrative, but not lucrative as far as this fictional legal DOJ shit, excuse me, and stuff. But yeah. So my issue is with those who don't understand the importance of unification. But it's not so ill because there are some who never get it together. They are chemically lobotomized. Listen to me, guys. Unless all your spiritual awareness is really, for that term, your inner you is truly awakening, you won't even discuss this. You may have someone aside because your intelligence might go elsewhere to teach somebody. But yet, until then, no, it's all, we're just mouth. And so I'm going to play that part until other people come too. And trust me, when they come in too, because people, when they come around you, when you come in too, they see something. And we always believe it's an element of religion or church without purpose, but falsely claiming a purpose, and then you see the purpose, and it's always self-gratification. I mean, look at how all these pastors coming out gay, and I don't want to go into that because after being overseas and Dubai and all that and Iraq, look, I don't even want to get into that because it's permeating everywhere. Oh, what was that? Well, I thought you had two different YouTube. I do. Yes, I do. You can see it up on which one. The other one has black backing with a red word that says banned. And I still want people to subscribe to it because I'm going to always utilize it. I'm going to upload these videos over there. I just rebooted myself from, the point I was trying to stay, it was, yeah, I got you, beloved. Yeah, definitely. And now I have to serve what I help destroy. Exactly, yo. Sometimes when I go on YouTube, I actually try to find your notifications. I can't find them, and I have to type in your name. Wow. And you know what I expressed to people to unsubscribe and resubscribe and re-hit the notification, and it should work. Everybody's saying and doing that. You know, certain things I watch, you know, when I feel like just having those like an hour or two just to catch up on certain events within the QA community, or you know what's going on with certain individuals, to see the games being played, to see past. I'll unsubscribe every time I go on there and resubscribe and hit the notification bell. And people's channels on here who I still follow, you know, like I unsubscribe every time I go to the channel, see if they got a new video or whatever, give them a like, see what they're talking about, what's the discussion, and you know, no comment, because I like to hear people talking about any and everything. And I just resub and you know, hit the re-notification, you know what I'm saying? So, but I appreciate that. Oh yeah, very clear. I get you, buddy. Oh, okay. Let's see. Yeah. Appreciate it. But yeah, look at those things I was expressing. Check that stuff out. Those little few words. Always go back later and watch it and pull it up again, and then write those down if you didn't get them. And just research it. You know, I know some of you are actually getting into looking at the Theosophical Society, Manny P. Hall. Once you look at Manny P. Hall, you'll see some of the others will pop up. And I usually, like, something else pop up in that category. Even about mysticism and all that stuff, I'll listen to see what they have to say. And am I listening for information? I just want to see where they're at. I just want to see what it was at that time, what was being fed, and so I can have a better way of articulating to myself how people are duped into a whole lot of nonsense. Um, it's systematic. It doesn't matter if somebody who we think is rich. You got to remember, many people all had everything negative to say about masonry. And he was broached upon by an associate, and he joined. He was in there, he practiced, and he came out and delivered on many different things. It's just something, I mean, it's good stuff to look into. Is it all factual or true? If it's not. It makes for good commentary and it makes for a good story. So I never allow these things to be so pragmatic in my life that nothing but, it's like taking an aspirin. Or if you got a headache, a lot of y'all going to take Tylenol. It's not like y'all remember how to take the natural things to help. To increase the blood flow, certain medicinal flowers and stuff that you put on your forehead, around your neck, certain exercises, how to grab your head, lean forward and press to relieve a migraine for a minute. You know what I'm saying? Simple acupressure and stuff like that. A lot of things with a headache, holding here, but knowing the tensile strength by your fingertips. Tensile we think is always this. But you got to remember there's a force that is working against the brake, right? So the force is pulling. We believe it's just resistance. Well, resistance is what? Right? So when you're pulling something apart, there's resistance. You think it's because of its density. Density plays a part, but there's an order to it. If we explain away the order, we can't come to a meaningful understanding of it. So yes, that's all part of it. You know what I'm saying? So where there's a give, there's a take, right? I am tired, not sleepy tired. Like I was really out there moving, guys. This is a different shirt. The other one's sweat is just sweaty. but yeah, we had a good time. And when you practice, and I always tell people, shooting and scooting. Remember, there are drones small enough, put in your palm, that can come right down at some serious nautical models and tap you in your head and put you down. That's why it's so important that they understand your body signature. You dig what I'm saying? You program body signature or something, so we have to work on bettering ourselves and equipping ourselves with the knowledge, but at the same time, that's why I watch these things, at the same time, relinquishing ourselves to a different existence. You know what I'm saying? Okay, most definitely. To a greater existence, because we keep minimalizing ourselves. We keep shortening. It's not like the time is not shortened already. I just hope you all are paying attention and knowing that if you really believe that we're alone, when I told you those eyes weren't like this, I wasn't lying. Maybe I'm different. Maybe mine weren't meant to go like that. Maybe yours weren't. I don't know. All I'm saying is what I saw was real. 1,000,000%. Very real. Not created in my head, not some projectile. This person was a real individual. My boy scooted away, a little pussy, but he's a bad boy. Trust me, he's somebody you want in your corner. But that day, I'd rather have Walker or somebody with me. Derek Walker or whoever. Because homeboy was scooting, boy. He got the hell up around that corner, man. I was walking, switching. I was like speed walking. But with the upper body, so you really can't tell, watching everything around me. I got around that corner, took off, caught up with my boy. I was like, man! Homeboy's eyes did that real quick. Because, I usually put my hands up. Nigga, what? But I didn't react back. Because, I was like 24 years old. I used to be like, what the fuck? Be ready to sprawl. You know what I'm saying? And we're wrestling shit. Like, take the motherfucker. But, my boy just went, it was like in my peripheral. Just like, I could feel him walk away. What the fuck? It wasn't a mirror or nothing. Because it's the street, the big ass, whatever that fucking building was. And the rest of the pizzeria with the brick oven pizza. We was gonna get that with a bottle of wine and chill, you know, talk to the ladies and shit. Already stopped at a couple of bookstores, you know. But yeah, it's always the case. Really, really saw it. And we didn't say shit. We got back to the boat. We talked to certain individuals. We'd be like, nigga, you wouldn't believe. We was like walking around the shit. We look at everybody like, there's a motherfucker on this boat watching us. It was like that for about motherfucking month and a half, y'all. All right, and we had like 3.5, almost 4 months to go on the cruise. If I remember right, I could have it a little backwards, but god damn it, it was real. So if you believe there's nothing down here, cool. If you're comfortable, cool. Just because you haven't seen it, outstanding. Well, they have been practicing with the EW. I've seen the fishing with camera. You know, I've seen the biggest freeze ups. He dipped down. Yeah, he was quick. No, man, he fucking he jetted. That nigga had. Listen to me, man. We're chatting. My boy's like right here. I can see his nose, his face. Was chatting. My boy was about a year or so older than me. A little tall. We all work out together, ordinance and shit. He's half Italian. You know, he's from Chicago, right? My boy, bad, man. He dust up a storm like whoop, whoop, whoop. Like, and we trained all together. We went home the heavy bag and all that, right? You know what I'm saying? And so homeboy, we talking. I'm listening to him talk, and he pauses. And right there, when he's like a slight pause, like a breathe, like it's a misbreathe, I saw the shit, and my boy was just out of my frame. Like I mean, you know what I'm talking about. It's like that fart you want to hold and you want to let it slide out because you can't get it and walk away, but you know it's got to come out, and you try to ease it out. And whap, you right there. You know what I'm saying? That's how the nigga was like. It's no ease. And I remember I held myself like this. I remember I was looking at that dude talking. I know he had to see me like. At that moment. Oh, hey, hold up. I'll be right back. Skit. And I'm looking at the windows and shit. Like if I see a figure behind me, I got to get down. Everything, skills and shit's got to come out. The motherfucking, out the crevices, the lint, and the fucking, it all got to come out. I was thinking that quick. But the corner, you know, it's uphill. Anyway, when I got to that corner, god damn. My boy was almost all the way down there, other than the block. We talking about big fucking blocks now. We talking about that Tartarian block shit. Man, I hauled it. The motherfucker was behind me, and all I had to do was grab me if it was that bad. I mean, fucking, I got to fight to whatever I got. I mean, something like that, you know. I got him, my boy, I grabbed him. I said, man, what the fuck you leave me like that for? Man, you see his eyes. That's all my boy had to say. His big chocolate-looking motherfucking wavy Fred Astaire head looking motherfucker talking about something. Because that's how he look. He look Italian, you know what I'm saying? But a nigga, you know what I'm saying? And he's saying, man, you see, his face was so fucking, it became pale. I said, you bitch nigga, at least we could have fought together. As I know, man, but it's the first time I ever seen some shit like that, man. And man, what the fuck? I thought you was behind me. How could you think anybody's behind you when you was the fucking wind? And we just went back to the boat and shit. Because I was like, I ain't go back over there. I've been over there. I ain't get off the boat. Maintenance work. I got shit to do. I got them bombs. I got to write up Vid 7s verifications and /11s. I got pubs, PO. The Emerald PO. I got to take her all this shit. I ain't care about staying on watching movies, eating popcorn. Fuck that in the gym. I did not go back out that motherfucker, y'all. Not at all. Dre Cobbs, what's up, beloved? What's cracking? We got the kids coming on. I'm gonna have to make sure that YouTube knows to make sure that the kids don't come on. Okay? You already know, blood. Well, we got the little gamers coming on. They don't even know what to do, y'all. You are hidden from the channel. That's all we do. We keep it real simple. We don't do nothing. We just, you're gone. So thank you. Keep talking. So anywho, if you've seen it or if you've been around it, don't be afraid to talk about it. Don't make up some shit though. Because motherfuckers like, when people talk about their veterans, I mean, you never said that before, and then we watch how a motherfucker move. Now, nigga, you just hood rich or hood smart. Nigga, you ain't no veteran. You know what I'm saying? Because when it comes to melanated veterans, we carry ourselves a little differently. Not all, but the majority. Trust me. Well, family orientation has nothing to do with being ghetto fabulous or our military, but we all have a certain way about us, and we just know. You don't know how many times I go to Wild Week when I see guys who are working there for the summer, working on the ships, and I look at them and I see they stay in the shop, but I watch how they walk and how they talk, and I go, that nigga's a vet. It's just something we have, man. It's like somebody been locked up. If you watch their actions, you could tell that they were locked up. How they don't front about calling you on your shit. My father was notorious for walking up to a motherfucker and say, "Oh, you full of shit." And they be looking at my pops. And not just because they knew the nigga done half his life in the motherfucking prison system after goddamn Vietnam, but it's just the fact. And a scrapper, you know what I'm saying? And he was something else, man. You could tell that. You could tell that about people. Whether they're ex-military, been locked up, real ones. I'm not talking about the people that just keep going, getting locked up for misdemeanors, doing retarded shit. A lot of people are innocent, but I'm just saying. Matter of fact, I got this kid I'm training who's going on the police force, him and his partner. They graduated high school last year, and so they're weak. No, they're stronger than what they were. And I run them through like a 45-minute workout. Medicine ball, dumbbells, push-ups. And they're like, this is not what they did when they playing football. I says, this is for real strength. This is eternal strength. This is no... And they even meditate. And I show them certain functional skills, of exercise of functional skills to better their blood flow. They're going to make for very exceptional, good police officers. My only fear is when it comes time and they're given ultimatums. You see, you don't need to know that people are given ultimatums when things go a certain direction. And many people who have been executed during certain wars and the perversions of these wars were executed just because, not because they weren't, or didn't believe in something, because they would not partake in those events. It's like the Ukraine war. I have tons of videos that I've watched when they were fighting their own people who sympathized with Russia. And they still are, actually. And most people aren't aware of it. They think that they're fighting the regular Russian army. And you got someone over there, but they're fighting the other Ukrainians. All right? We had a knucklehead who went over there and fought from here. Motherfucker realized that he didn't, after being there and fighting, he didn't want to fight no more, like stupid motherfucker. Anyway, he says, no, man, some of the people they're fighting were the people that live there, who are Russian sympathizers. I hate that word, Russian sympathizers. That's like saying, oh, you're a liberal sympathizer, or you're a conservative, or you're an independent sympathizer. This is the dumbest shit. Who creates that kind of division? You know what I'm saying? But, yeah, I thought I would, hey, Thomas C., what's going on, beloved? Wow, that's pretty deep. Examine temperature, pressure, gravity, mass. Yeah, I don't believe in gravity. Definitely mass. Torpedoes, what's going on, beloved? What's happening? But anyway, we're over the hour. I'm going to go ahead and chill out for a little bit. Come back, we get that other reading. I'm not going back out. I'm thinking about taking all this garb off, throw on some PJs or something, get relaxed. Then we come back, we'll get into the other two books, and we'll get right back. And we'll hit Ancient Modern Britons and Jews and Muslims in Europe. And of course, today we are going to hit, because I have to, because I'm still reading it, Lil William Cooper, Roll the Pale Horse. All right? Appreciate you guys. If y'all donated, I wouldn't know because my tablet's off and the notifications off of here, so they're not coming through. Let me put this where it needs to be at. These books, two books right here, and William Cooper is right there looking at me in the face. So 5 books we'll get into, which is pretty informative. We'll start off with the DNA of the gods. We'll get into the wars in Anunnaki, nuclear annihilation, blah, blah, blah. And then we'll get into ancient Britons and then the Jews and Muslims of Europe. And William Cooper will be last, okay? And it'll be in that order. All right? So if you came over from TikTok, appreciate you. I know there's a lot of goofiness on TikTok, just like there's all the other platforms, but we don't give it any essence, or we don't give it any strength. You know what I mean? But yeah. But hey, look, see y'all here in a little bit. I know the sisters. Hold on, did we have a sister? Who was a sister came in here? Anyway, if they come in, if the sisters come in, brothers, and I'll see y'all here shortly. Well, actually, it'll be about 5 o'clock. All right. So good. Awesome.